What's up, guys? Dr. Cam from Ground Overhead PT coming back to you with your daily body armor. Talking a little bit of low back pain today, and specifically, how can we get you back deadlifting without having that pain pulling off of the ground? So you may have, started out with some rehab early on. You had some severe low back pain. Maybe you were doing some dead bugs. Maybe you were doing a lot of core strengthening activities. Ultimately, your goal would be to get back to performing deadlifts and other activities like snatches and power cleans, where we're really pulling that weight off of the ground. Um, but maybe you're not quite there yet. Maybe again, you get ready to go pull the weight from the ground and you're still having a little bit of back pain. It could be that you've been working back to the deadlift. Maybe you've had a deadlift that was elevated on a surface, and you've been able to pull from maybe a more shallow surface. But again, you go to lift that heavier weight from the floor that you built up to, and it's still quite painful. I want to give you guys an activity, something as similar as possible to that deadlift that you can utilize to again help you get back to pulling that heavier weight without that pain off the ground. So with that said, this is going to be very dependent upon how much you can lift, right? So for some, we're just going to use some numbers here. Again, it's going to vary throughout the athletes, but say for example that you're used to being able to pull 135 off of the ground with no problem. That's a fairly light weight for you, but now 135 is still pretty painful, right? You build up, and maybe you had the weight elevated to a certain extent. You build up to maybe 225 from that elevated height, and there's no pain, right? But now you go back down to the ground at that 135, and you're starting to build that back up, or you're trying to build that back up, and there's still pain, right? What I want you to do is let's go even lighter, right? So we can go lighter with the deadlift, but we still want to challenge the system. How can we do that? Well, one great way to do this, guys, is to have a band which is draped across this bar, okay? And again, we're starting with a lighter weight, all right? We go and we step onto this band. We get this in position, and now you may have to play around with where the band lies on the bar or whatnot. It may be awkward the first time, but again, you'll figure it out as you go along. Okay, now we get this weight here, and again, it's lighter, so we can easily, without that pain, start to lift this off of the ground. Now, what you'll see is as we start to get a little bit higher into this deadlift, that band's going to add a bit more resistance, so we can, again, get a little bit more of a stimulus at that top portion where we're not having as much pain. And then on the way back down, keeping that bar nice and close to the body. As we get towards the bottom, it gets a little bit easier. So again, this can vary from athlete to athlete in terms of how much you'll be able to pull, but I love this exercise to, again, begin to build that resistance up as we get higher up, but utilize a lighter weight at the bottom where you're still having that pain. If you guys have questions about this exercise or anything else that we posted here, reach out to us. Don't forget to subscribe and like our page, and I'll see you next time for your daily body armor.